Hi, I'm Matt Collins. I'd like to welcome you to Bob Weber Auto Mart on Douglas Avenue here in Racine, across from Douglas Park. We specialize in 1-year-old, low mileage, almost new cars. And if you'd like to stop by and see them, or see them on our website, bobweberautomart.com, we could save you between $5,000 and $10,000 on your next almost new car purchase.
Welcome to another edition of Sports Junkies. Time to talk some Bucks basketball. Steve Sparky Fifer from the Wendy's Big Show, weekdays 2 to 6 on Sports Radio 1250 WSSP, along with Gery Woelfel, one of the top 5 basketball insiders in the country here at the Racine Journal-Times, here at RacineSportsZone.com. Let's talk about the number 1 team in the NBA as far as our tank rank goes. They're the worst team. They are our Milwaukee Bucks.
Number 1 ranked tank team.
Number 1 ranked tank team, and that's good. They got to stay there. Now, they're a couple games up in that ranking right now, feeling comfortable with that.
Doesn't Ted Davis call you Commander Tank?
Tank Commander.
Tank Commander.
Tank Commander, okay. Right. And I like that very much. I'm fine with that. Giannis starting at the 2.
Yes.
OJ Mayo coming off the bench. Do you like that?
Don't like it at all. You know what? This is almost has the Brandon Jennings theme all over again. Let's play this guy because he's our future. Even though he's not ready, let's throw him in, give him major minutes, and go from there. He's not a 2 guard. I don't know why, if they reprimanded O.J. Mayo for something that he didn't start. They're paying O.J. Mayo $8 million a year not to sit on the bench. He's supposed to be one of their main players even going forward. I mean, this is supposed to be a guy that's supposed to get you 18, 20 points a game, and all of a sudden you're just kicking him to the curb and saying, no, you're not starting anymore? I mean, if this is a one-game thing, fine. But if it's a pattern, I got a real issue with it.
I have no issue with it whatsoever because I want Giannis to play. And the problem is that it's not really a problem, but Chris Middleton is playing so well right now at the small forward position, you can't move him out. Giannis is too thin to play at the 4, so the only position you have to play him at is a 2. Mayo is so inconsistent right now, like he has been his whole career, that you can't afford to keep running him out there and getting your team into holes.
I would love to have guys as inconsistent as him. He has had a bad stretch, but I'll tell you what, he can still play.
Yeah, I mean, give it 9, sure. He can get straight 3 games together in a row.
Skiles told me this a couple years ago.
Let's see if Mayo can straight.
Skiles made a good point a couple years ago. He said if a guy has 2 games out of every 5, the average, the good player, not the superstars, the good players, he said, I'll take that. And you know what? I'm starting to come around to that, believe it or not. If you have 2 good games out of 5, you're a pretty good player. It's not like you're a star player, but you're a good player.
You're failing to realize something. This is a bad basketball team.
Yeah.
If they're going to compete,
I realize that.
He has to average 20 or more.
No, he doesn't.
Yes, he does.
No, he has to average.
You don't have anybody else on this team that can do it.
Wrong-o.
Who?
Right now, it's Brandon Knight.
Oh.
I know, you're definitely not in the Brandon Knight fan club.
He's had 2 really good games in a row.
You are wrong. He's had 4 good games in a row.
He had 8 turnovers like 3 games ago.
Right,
That's not good.
But he also scored 36 points in it.
Oh, that's okay. But Jennings scores a lot of points. He gets some turnovers. You don't want to talk about the points. You want to talk about turnovers.
You know what?
Now your boy Brandon Knight does it, and now, don't worry about the turnovers, Sparky.
No. Here. You know what I noticed? We talked about that on the post-game show when he had his 8 turnovers, and I brought it up right away. I mean, that's inexcusable. No point guard, okay?
And he hasn't had any in the last 2.
He hasn't had any in his last 2 for number 1. But get this, Steve. In the last 4 games, he has averaged how many points?
23.
22 something, correct.
Right.
That's darn good for a 22-year-old point guard. And again, the big issue with him is running the point and turnovers.
Creating for others.
And I'll tell you what, if he's got it down to 0 turnovers and you're scoring 22 points and you're averaging 7 rebounds a game from the point guard position, that tells me a lot that this guy has a big upside.
Yeah, if he can learn how to run the offense now and create for others, would be in better shape.
He is. I think he's really learning. He's learning, but he's already...
He rebounds better than point guards in this league.
He rebounds probably better than any point guard in this league.
Okay, fine. Fair enough. Now, he's scoring. We'll see if he can maintain the scoring. But again, if you're going to be the point guard, it's to create for others, right?
Not necessarily. Not
necessarily.
No. I mean, do you think Russell...
Yes!
He does not.
Yes!
He's a scoring-type point guard.
No, he is. But just because you're a scoring-type point guard doesn't mean you can't create for others.
Well, I absolutely.
Derrick Rose scores, but he creates for others.
Yeah, and he does. And you know what? And I think... You have to watch Brandon Knight. He makes good passes. I know it doesn't reflect in the number of stats. I was shocked one game when he had like 3 assists or something. I watched that game, and he made some great passes. And I'm thinking like, man, people are just going to look at the box score and say, oh, he had 3 assists, another, selfish game. No, for whatever reason, And you can say Jennings did the same thing, and I agree, to an extent.
You didn't agree what he was doing. You were killing him.
But here's the thing that separates. Defensively, we talked about this.
I can't argue defense.
Yeah, it isn't even close. And if you're going to say, okay, he doesn't run the offense as well as Jennings or scores as well as Jennings, fine. There's more to the game than that. That's just one aspect of the game that you have to, take into consideration. I know you're never going to be sold on Brandon Knight, ever.
No, I will be.
No, you won't.
I told you, I'm going to give him time to see if he can do what he's doing right now consistently.
Well, I agree.
But now, if your new philosophy in life is 2 good games of every 5, which means you can play well for 2 and crappy for 3, and that's good enough for you.
Up until a week ago, he wasn't doing anything properly.
No.
I mean, he wasn't scoring.
Right.
He wasn't passing the ball. But now, all of a sudden, the light's gone on, in my mind, in the last 4 games. And the 8 turnovers, you take that away, he has been probably one of the top 4 or 5 point guards over that last week and a half.
So we'll see how Brandon...
Exactly. We'll see how he goes forward.
We'll see how he goes
If he reverts
forward
to what he did, and then, you got a point.
Right. So we'll see how Brandon Knight goes forward. Chris Milton is playing at a high level right now. He really is, and he's as consistent as anybody is on the basketball floor. And when they made that trade, I think Milton was just kind of a throw-in.
He was a throw-in.
But Milton now looks like he could be a piece going forward.
Well, I kidded with him after the game the other night. I said, you know what, Joe Dumars could have saved $54 million that he gave to Josh Smith and just kept you, know. And the thing about it is he's a really good perimeter shooter, mid-range to, 3-point range shooter. And that's what the Pistons could use right now. Yeah, they got enough interior guys. They need a guy that can definitely, shoot the jumper. But what a surprise! And the crazy thing is now Cron comes back, and Cron's playing well.
Yep.
I mean, so Larry Drew all of a sudden
Please quit shooting the threes, Karan. I beg you, please.
He's a good 3-point shooter, though.
He's not.
He is.
He might have been last year, Gary. God bless him. He's awful this year.
I'll bet it.
What was he, like 2 of 10 the other night?
Oh, here we go. 1 game.
No, not 1 game. It's all year.
No,
He's had 1 game where he felt it from outside. One.
I'll bet he's still shooting around 35% from 3-point range. Yes? No?
It drives me crazy. Well, just go to the line. You hit free throws. Go to the rim. You're physical enough. You have the body. Go. Show the 3 and drive.
He can do both. I agree with that.
Oh, it drives me crazy.
I mean, it's like Ursan, too. I mean, Ursan shot like 46% from 3-point range last year, and this year he's shooting like 20%.
But that's typical Ursan.
No,
that's typical Ursan.
No,
Ursan, who starts off slow every year, and then when the season's over, then he catches fire in like February, and away we go for the next 2 months to make his numbers look good.
That's making a blanket statement, which isn't true.
Just ridiculous.
This year, he probably shouldn't have been playing. I brought that up on the post-game show a couple times. That guy had trouble moving side to side, his lateral ability.
Yeah.
And then the other night, while in his last game that he played for the Bucks, I said to him, how bad are your ankles? He said, they're horrible. I said, what do you mean? He goes, when I try to just shoot a jump shot now, coming off the ground, he felt pain surging through his ankle. That's not a good sign.
No, that's not.
So it'll be curious to see how long they keep him out.
Yep, so he's shut down. Gary Neal was in a walking boot, I heard, last time I checked on Gary Neal. So don't know how long before Gary Neal comes back. And we knew that was going to be a year-long thing. Because that doesn't just go away with Gary Neal.
No, and the other thing is he had this back in San Antonio.
Yes.
It's not like this popped up, in training camp or the season.
Right.
Then he also hurt himself later on. But the plantar fasciitis, he's had that almost for a year now.
Delfino was hurt when we signed him too. So,
but
it doesn't matter.
No, I'm not throwing the Bucks medical staff under the bus for that. That was out of their realm, out of their control. I mean, they saw everybody knew he had surgery. And when they made the deal for Carlos, they looked at those X-rays and MRI results, and they talked to the doctors, and they all agreed that within a couple months he'll be back. They expected him to be back, I think, like in November.
So what happened?
He re-injured it afterwards, after the fact. So I mean that happens. I mean, what's the team doctor supposed to do? Just make sure he sits in his chair 24 hours a day, and
Typical Bucks luck.
It is luck, but I have a real problem for those people that throw the Bucks medical staff under the bus. That was not their fault.
Okay, fair enough. So now let's talk about a new proposal that's being floated around and possibly going to be floated around to NBA league officials, or the NBA owners, I should say, coming up maybe as soon as next year at some point. We have an issue in the NBA which is tanking. Now, the issue with tanking in the NBA has been going on for some time. That is why we created the NBA draft lottery, was to stop NBA teams from tanking. Well, there's a lottery, then you don't know who's going to be first, second, or third. It's all ping pong balls, so that'll stop it. Well, if you look at the NBA this year, it hasn't stopped it. It's made it worse. When you have a great draft class, people are still going to take their chances. So I read this morning that there are some officials within the NBA that are proposing a plan that I actually don't mind all that much.
I bet I know what you're going to say.
The plan
and I didn't know the story.
Okay, the plan is a wheel. So think of kind of like a roulette wheel. If you've ever been to Vegas or a casino, like a roulette wheel where there's different numbers all the way around. They're not in chronological order, they're just all scattered.
There you go.
Okay?
Yeah.
So the draft order will then click one notch over every year, meaning it's set for the next 30 years, let's say, all right? Or however many teams are in the NBA.
I did not hear this, and I'm glad I didn't.
Okay, which means this. Every NBA team, every 5 years, will have a top 6 pick. Every NBA team will have the number 1 overall pick every 30 years.
Who came up with that, David Stern?
But what that means is this. You know what number you have in each round for the next 30 years. Every team does. So every draft order is set for the next 30 years out. So if you want to trade...
That is absolutely ludicrous.
But get this. If you want to trade with, say, let's say the Miami Heat have the number 1 pick in 2 years.
Right.
Right? If you want to trade for the number 1 pick, knowing that's going to be your pick, then you can do that. If you want to trade for the number 3 pick in 3 years, you can do that because you know there's no chance of it.
Who's the genius that concocted this ridiculous...
I don't know. It's come up. I absolutely love this idea.
You would. You love WWF.
No, it's not WWF.
It is WWF.
How is it?
It's such a farce. The draft was instituted to reward the bad teams. You don't know what's going to play out in 5, 10, 15 years. You don't even know. You're not even going to know what plays out from next year.
But you know. But this is the great thing.
Did you think the Chicago Bulls are going to lose Derrick Rose right off the bat?
But wait a second here. This is the great thing about this is
no, there's nothing about it.
No, hold on. Because now the bad teams, okay, they can look at it and go, okay, we're going to have to sign free agents because we don't have these picks. Or the bad teams, let's say they're dealing with a really good team.
Right.
Let's say it's like at the Miami Heat, right? We got Ursan. Now, in this case, maybe they would want one because it's the year of Wiggins or whatever. But in the other year, they may go, yeah, fine, you can have number 1 overall, and we want to go win a ring, so we're willing to give up that number 1 pick next year to do it. And there's no chance of, well, it's top 3 protected. Well, it's top 5 protected. No, all this crap. That's all gone. Now I
that's
know.
Not crap. That's planning.
No, now I know I get that pick. Now it's not. I don't care what the record is. I know I'm getting the number 1 overall pick. It is absolutely beautiful.
So what if the Miami Heat, which has a dynasty now and could have a dynasty for the next 3, 4, 5 years going, what if they get the number 1 pick? And then
they would.
Yeah, and so Dwayne Wade's wrapping up his career and LeBron gets to play with Wiggins.
Sure.
Oh, great. That's a great
product. But it's planned 30 years out, Gary.
You don't even know if franchises are going to be available 30 years out.
Regardless, whoever fills in that role. But it's planned out that far in advance. I absolutely love it. Now, you don't love it because it's different than anything you've ever done.
No, I'm open. In fact, I would abolish the lottery, period. I think that's...
And then you go back to letting it just tank it.
Exactly. And if teams are tanking them, so be it. That's the way it is.
But see, people don't think that's good for the sport. Because right now you have 2 teams in the Eastern Conference.
I think
and the rest are garbage.
I think
you have 2 teams in the entire Eastern Conference.
3.
2?
3.
Who's the third?
Atlanta's over 500 now. So
stop. You have 2 teams in the Eastern Conference, and the rest of them suck.
Right. Well, I'm not arguing
that. Okay, well that's not good for the NBA.
Why isn't it good for the NBA?
Because who wants to watch that much bad basketball?
That's up to each individual organization if they want to tank or if they want to try to improve.
No.
It's the same issue the Bucks have
No. You're looking at this from David Stern's standpoint.
No, I'm not.
I'm telling you to look at it from that standpoint because that's who's in charge of this league. So look at it from the commissioner's standpoint
for a month or so.
of the league right now and figure out, okay, if I'm an NBA fan, what teams do I actually want to watch? There are probably 6 to 8 teams in this entire league.
You know what?
Maybe.
Well, that's
it.
That's the same theory for Bucks fans right now. Do you want to watch this bad team or tank? You're making the decision. What do you want to do?
Well, I want to tank.
Okay, then don't watch the team. That's your choice.
Gary, that's the point. If you go to this 30-year rule with this wheel, then the tanking thing is out the window because you know, okay, if I tank, I'm still picking 25 next year. So it doesn't do any good. Now you aren't going to tank.
I don't.
And if I want to go trade assets to get top picks for the next year,
That's
I can.
that's the beauty of going from season to season. It's not predetermined. What interest would you have going forth if it's already predetermined? Like you're going to get the pick.
Trades would go way up.
I disagree.
Trades would go through the roof up because you'd have more picks at the top being traded because those teams would know they're locked in. It would add more
Yeah,
activity.
you know what I thought you were going to talk about was that how they were going to reorganize the seating for the playoffs. That they would take the 16 best teams regardless.
Right.
There's talk afoot among NBA officials of going that way right now.
And why is that? Because the Eastern Conference, the entire conference is
Correct.
tanking.
Yeah.
That is why. But you like that now. You're okay with that.
No. I'm saying it's up to the team if they want to or not. That should be their decision, not the NBA's decision.
No, I want conferences. I don't want top 16. He's Gery Woelfel
We're done?
of the Racine Journal-Times. I'm
man.
Steve Sparky Fifer. That'll do it for another edition of Bucks Talk, Sports Junkies edition, right here at
Steve
Racine
Fifer,
Sports
Brandon Knight's agent.
Show.com.
Coming soon to your screen.